Dispute regarding Dharan's BP Koirala Institute of Health Sciences still not resolved. Patients at the receiving end as health services at the health institution halted since 2 weeks. Most of the local levels in the country in financial crisis. Out of the 270 local levels, only 57 passed the local level financial assessment. Experts opine to make monitoring effective. Turkey's parliament approves Sweden's NATO membership bid, clearing at a last major hurdle to expanding the Western military alliance after 20 months of delays. And Nepal up against strong opponent Pakistan today in their second match of the ongoing ICC Under-19 World Cup in South Africa. Match scheduled to kick off at 1:45 p.m. Nepal time. The meeting of the Executive Committee of Dharan's BP Koirala Institute of Health Sciences is set to continue today, as a consensus has yet to be reached regarding the issues at the institute, which has halted all health services except for emergency for the past 2 weeks. Preparations have been made to hold the Executive Committee meeting today, as yesterday's meeting ended inconclusively. Speaking to Kantipur News, Registrar of the Institute, Surya Prasad Sangrola, said that Vice-Chancellor Prahlad Karki left in the middle of the meeting. Dispute regarding whether to conduct the interview for the promotion of doctors, teachers and staff first or call the meeting of the Senate has surfaced. Vice-Chancellor Karki had remained firm in his stance regarding calling the meeting of the Senate first. In the meantime, service seekers have been at the receiving end, as all health services except for emergency have remained halted for the past 2 weeks. The complaints filed at the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority CIAA and the undeclared amounts in the report prepared by the Auditor General show lack of financial transparency in the local levels. Likewise, the list published by the Ministry of Federal Affairs and General Administration following evaluation also hints towards the trend of indiscriminate spending at local levels. Out of the 270 local levels whose reports have been published by the ministry, only 57 local levels have maintained financial discipline. The Ministry of Federal Affairs and General Administration evaluates financial transactions of local levels annually based on the details provided by the local authority regarding whether or not the spending had been done by fulfilling regulations and proper procedure. Abheudaya municipality of Rohtahat with 16 points is at the bottom of the list with least points as per the recent local level financial assessment conducted by the ministry. Likewise, Fatua Bijaypur municipality, Badi Kedar, Feta and Subarna rural municipalities are others that recorded low scores. Marin rural municipality of Sinduli has been adjudged the best local level this year in terms of financial discipline. The Ministry of Federal Affairs and General Administration has been evaluating the local levels based on their plans, management of budget and programs, eligibility of implementing programs, review of accounting and report, as well as auditing and management of revenue. The ministry has made plans to provide additional budget to the local levels that have performed well. As per the regulation, local levels that score less than 40 points out of 100 are at financial risk, while those scoring between 41 and 80 points have average financial risk. Likewise, the local levels that score more than 80 points fall under the least financial risk category. Meanwhile, the ministry says that expected progress has not been made in maintaining financial discipline due to the negligence in implementing budget at the local levels. It's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Your options are A, corrupt mentality, B, lack of experts, and C, feeble monitoring. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. The largest party of the parliament, Nepali Congress, is among the ruling alliance parties after it joined hands with Prime Minister and CPN-UML Center Chair Pushpakamal Dahal. Although Premier Dahal leads the government, Nepali Congress is a major part of it. Therefore, the party must also be accountable towards the government proceedings. However, Nepali Congress President Sherbahadur Deuba has remained silent on questions raised over government works. As per the agreement reached between the ruling alliance, Deuba will become the Prime Minister after 2 years. Prime Minister Dahal has been making efforts to reshuffle the cabinet after being discontent with the works of the ministers. However, Nepali Congress President Deuba has not made any remarks in this regard. Deuba had made no remarks on the Lalita Niwas land scam, fake Bhutanese refugee scam, selling of Ncell shares, cases of gold smuggling, border disputes with India, and evaluation of ministers, among other issues of national concern. Deuba will be appointed the Prime Minister after 2 years as per the agreement with the ruling alliance. Deuba has remained busy with internal disputes as he has been accused of favoring only those in his faction. The government has floated a draft for the new Police Act with the proposal to remove the 30-year term limit. The Federal Police Act intends to support the integration of Nepal police in provincial structures, and it will also be a base for the rights and jurisdiction of police personnel at the provincial levels. The draft also proposes for the adoption of age limit and tenure similar to that of the civil service sector. Some 10 years ago, the Supreme Court had issued a mandamus to form laws regarding the police. Based on the draft of the proposed laws prepared by the Ministry of Home Affairs, the tenure of the Inspector General of Police will be 3 years with an age limit of 60 years, while 4 years for the Additional Inspector General with an age limit of 59 years. At present, many who are of age are not being able to serve further due to the term limit of 30 years. Likewise, the term for DIG has been proposed for 5 years with an age limit of 59 years and SSP for 8 years with an age limit of 58 years. The Home Ministry has planned to maintain the age limit for the police chief at 58 and AIG and DIG at 57 years, in case the Federal Civil Service Act is not introduced. Meanwhile, questions are rife regarding which batch the new laws will be implemented for. Based on the new laws, the tenure of incumbent IGP Basanta Kumar ends on the Nepalese month of Chaitra in 2081 next year. If the 30-year age limit is lifted, Kumar will get to serve for 1 more year and AIGs from his batch for 4 more years. However, this is likely to be unfair for the following batch. There are also arguments that the 30-year age limit would result in the retirement of many high-ranking police officers at once, adding burden on the state coffers. The Ministry of Home Affairs has organized various rounds of discussions with stakeholders on the potential laws. Although the government prepared the draft act through an ordinance, it is likely to take time for it to be finalized, as a consensus with the Ministry of Finance and the Service Commission is necessary. Demands of lower-ranking police personnel for pension provision in 16 years of serving at the entity have also yet to be addressed. It is the responsibility of the Nepal Tourism Board to identify new tourism destinations and promote the existing ones internationally. However, the entity itself is facing identity crisis at the moment. Although the Executive Committee of the Nepal Tourism Board includes 11 members along with the chairperson, the board's performance in the last 4 years remained unsatisfactory. The Nepal Tourism Board was established in 1998 under public and private effort with a view to promote tourism in the country. The board did remarkably well in promoting tourism for a few years. It became an excellent example of public-private partnership. However, political influence in the entity has been witnessed in recent time. The board has failed to identify new tourism destinations in the country and promote the existing ones, as well as to attract foreign tourists. The employees were provided salaries from advance budget amid failure to endorse the budget of the ongoing fiscal year. Nepal could not participate in the Global Tourism Festival held in Berlin, Germany. Meanwhile, the Trekking Agencies Association of Nepal is set to represent Nepal in the World Trade Market that will be held in India. The 4-year tenure of the Chief Executive Officer of the board, Dhanraj Regmi, is to end on 29th of January this month. His term remained controversial. However, he has put the blame on the government. 5 out of 11 members of the board are from the private sector. 3 of them are retiring on 5th of February next month. As per the regulation, a notice must be issued 35 days prior to appointing the Chief Executive Officer of the board, while it takes 3 months to select the candidate. However, party cadres are being appointed to the post instead of eligible candidates due to interference by the concerned minister. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked people in several provinces what has the government done to promote tourism sites in the region. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
मुखामा चाहिँ त्यसलाई अलिअलि मोडिफिकेसन ब्युटिफिकेसन गरेर चाहिँ सबैलाई लोभ्याउने गरीको ब्युटिफिकेसनको काम गरेको छ
आदिवासी जातिहरुको बाहुल्यता भएको हुनाले चाहिँ हामीलाई त्यति मुख्य रूपमा चाहिँ हेरेको छैन यहाँ
पुरातात्विक चीजहरु बोकेका पोखरीहरु ताल तलावहरु मठ मन्दिरहरुलाई संरक्षणको रूपमा अगाडि सारेको छ
सरकारको त्यस्तो खालको चाहना पनि केही छैन यहाँ
गोरीगञ्ज गाउँपालिकाले पनि त्यो पर्यटक ठाउँ बनाउनेहरुमा चाहिँ बजेट पनि अलि छुटाइराखेको छैन
पर्यटन जुन प्रबन्धन गर्नुपर्ने त्यति जति गर्नुपर्ने राज्यले बजेटै छुट्याएको छ त्यो भएको छैन
सरकारले कुनै विकासको कार्यहरु गरेकै छैन
जुन पर्यटनको प्रवर्धन गर्नुपर्ने हो त्यसमा जिरोबाट पनि सुरु गरेको छैन
पर्यटन प्रवर्धन मात्रै नभएर कुनै पनि अरु विषयमा चाहिँ उहाँहरुले राम्रोसँग काम गरेको देख्दिन मैले
सरकारले पर्यटन प्रवर्धनको लागि जनकपुरमा खासै त्यस्तो उपलब्धिमूलक काम गरेको छैन
पर्यटन चाहिँ आफ्नो टाइम स्पेन्ड गर्नको लागि केही पनि व्यवस्था कुनै पनि सरकारले कुनै पनि व्यक्तिले यस्तो व्यवस्था गरेको छैन अहिलेसम्म
It's time now for the international updates. Turkey's parliament approved Sweden's NATO membership bid yesterday following more than 4 hours of debate, clearing a last major hurdle to expanding the Western military alliance after 20 months of delays. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan's ruling AK party, its nationalist MHP allies, and the main opposition CHP voted in favor of the bid in the General Assembly, while opposition nationalist, Islamist, and leftist parties voted against it. President Erdogan will sign the bill into law likely in coming days, thus ending a lengthy process that has both frustrated some of Ankara's Western allies and enabled it to extract concessions. Hungary remains the only NATO member yet to ratify Stockholm's accession. United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres told UN Security Council that nothing can justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people. At least 14 people were killed in Israeli attacks on 2 residential homes in the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza. Medical sources said that at least 40 Palestinians were killed in Khan Yunis over the day, while Israeli bombings are preventing the recovery of dozens more bodies. Israel's military has announced its deadliest single day for troops since the Gaza ground invasion began, with 24 Israeli soldiers killed. At least 25,490 people have been killed and 63,000 wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7. The revised death toll in Israel from the October 7 Hamas attack stands at 1,139. The United States carried out strikes in Iraq against 3 facilities linked to Iran-backed militia Khatib Hezbollah yesterday, the Pentagon said, after a weekend attack on an Iraqi airbase that wounded U.S. forces. U.S. troops in Iraq and Syria have been attacked about 150 times by Iran-aligned militants since the Israel-Gaza war started in October. On Saturday, 4 U.S. personnel suffered traumatic brain injuries after Iraq's Ain al-Assad airbase was hit by multiple ballistic missiles and rockets fired by Iranian-backed militants from inside Iraq. The attacks against the United States are seen as retaliation for its support of Israel in its war against Iran-backed Palestinian militant group Hamas. The war in Gaza has been spreading, with U.S. forces hitting Houthi targets who have launched attacks on ships in the Red Sea. North Korea fired multiple cruise missiles towards the sea off its west coast earlier today. The missiles were fired at around 7 a.m. local time and were being analyzed by South Korean and U.S. intelligence. Tensions have spiked on the Korean peninsula following intensifying military maneuvers by the South Korean and U.S. militaries in response to weapons testing by the North. The latest firing of missiles comes after Pyongyang said it tested a solid-fuel hypersonic missile with intermediate range earlier this month in a move that was condemned by the United States, South Korea, and Japan. And now, before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. Dispute regarding Dharan's BP Koirala Institute of Health Sciences still not resolved. Patients at the receiving end as health services at the health institution halted since 2 weeks. Most of the local levels in the country in financial crisis. Out of the 270 local levels, only 57 passed the local level financial assessment. Experts opine to make monitoring effective. Turkey's parliament approves Sweden's NATO membership bid, clearing a last major hurdle to expanding the Western military alliance after 20 months of delays. And Nepal up against strong opponent Pakistan today in their second match of the ongoing ICC Under-19 World Cup in South Africa. Match scheduled to kick off at 1:45 p.m. Nepal time. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.